Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Book Club of California's live and online exhibition opening and program titled Creatures of Commerce, Animal Advertising Ephemera from the Bruce Shire Collection. And thank you for joining us here in person and for joining us online. My name is Kevin Kosick, and I'm the Executive Director for the Book Club of California, and it's my pleasure to welcome you and to host this evening. Tonight, as I said, we have more than 100 people registered to join us on Zoom and about 35, I think, registered to join us in person. For those of you that might be new to the Book Club of California, the Book Club of California is a nonprofit, member and donor-supported organization that is dedicated to preserving and promoting the history of the book and the book arts. Oftentimes, we do that with a focus on the literature and the history of California and the West. The book club publishes limited edition books, a scholarly journal, and keepsakes. We host a year-round series of exhibitions and programs like the one this evening on topics including fine printing, design, typography, bookbinding, collecting, California history, and much, much more. Now, if you're not a member of the book club or if your membership has lapsed, and you're interested in what we do, please consider joining our century-long tradition. Our membership dues are modest, the benefits are many, and we simply can't do the work of the book club without the support of our members. So I encourage you to go online to bccbooks.org to join the book club, to donate to the book club, or just find out more about who we are and what we do. And now for tonight's program and our presenter. The program is titled Creatures of Commerce, Animal Advertising Ephemera from the Bruce Shire Collection. Now, Bruce Shire is a retired attorney who practiced civil litigation as a partner in downtown San Francisco. But he's also a life member of the Ephemera Society of America and has served the longest continuous period on its board of directors, about 14 years in total, with 3 as vice president and 3 as president. In 2019, Bruce received the Ephemera Society's Reward of Merit, which is awarded for outstanding service and contribution to the Ephemera Society. And in 2023, he received the Ephemera Society's highest honor, the Maurice Rickards Award. Now, although Bruce formed collections as a youngster, he began to collect in earnest about 50 years ago. Bruce began collecting printed ephemera as an adjunct to his book collecting interest. He initially collected booksellers' trade cards, billheads, letterheads, and labels. But as Bruce rummaged through file drawers at antiquarian bookshops, scoured antique stores, and shopped flea markets, he invariably came across irresistible lithographed trade cards, die-cut advertising, and metamorphic cards. The beauty and the diversity of this ephemera caught his eye, and he began to gather it. Now, Bruce has exhibited eye-catching ephemera from his collections at the book club on multiple occasions. In 1991, 2005, and in 2014. On behalf of the Ephemera Society of America, he has exhibited at several ABAA antiquarian book fairs in Northern and Southern California, and at Ephemera Society conferences in Greenwich, Connecticut. Collections that he has exhibited include Native American advertising images, Easter egg dye ephemera, Cuba travel ephemera, bookselling ephemera, of course, Art Deco ephemera, Art Nouveau ephemera, and outdoor life ephemera. Now, his collection or his exhibition style is unusual in 2 ways. One, as you'll see, more is better. And 2, most of the ephemera stands or is presented vertically. It's not just laid flat. Now, tonight, with the opening of his 4th book club exhibition, Bruce will talk about his collecting, his collection, and the creatures of commerce that fill the cases throughout the book club. Now, if you have questions for our speaker, please use the chat and the Q&A functions in Zoom. We should have time to take questions. from the audience here in the club rooms and from you all out there in the virtual world. We also will end a little early. This won't be a 50-minute lecture because we want to give people here in the club rooms enough time to view the exhibition and speak with the curator. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, collector, curator, and good friend who's been here many, many days over the last couple of weeks installing his exhibition, Bruce Shire.
Thank you, Kevin. That was a wonderful introduction. You covered a few things that I'm going to cover again. I want to thank Kevin particularly for the many things that he has done for me in setting up this exhibition, and also Jacob, a staff member, for helping me. They provided great guidance and assistance throughout the planning of the exhibition. You're going to see my face, I guess, sometimes, and you're going to see some of the exhibit as I speak, and I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. It's going to kind of rotate, but mercifully, you're not going to see my face the entire time. Creatures of Commerce displays several hundred examples of animal advertising, primarily printed in the 19th century. Lions and tigers and bears are represented, as well as a tower of giraffes, a parade of elephants, a pandemonium of parrots, a parliament of owls, a pounce of cats, a sounder of pigs, an army of frogs, a caravan of camels, a warren of rabbits, a colony of penguins, a brace of ducks, a barrel of monkeys, a pack of dogs, a brood of chickens, a scurry of squirrels, a school of fish, and an ostentation of peacocks. I love those collective nouns. The exhibit also features, and here it's in the back, a large number of advertising paper butterflies, which are displayed like specimens in Riker cases. The first thing I'd like to talk about is what does an exhibit of advertising animal ephemera have to do with the Book Club of California, whose purpose, as Kevin has already said, they've had a 100-year mission to preserve and promote the history of the book and book arts with a focus on California. And I could be coy and just answer absolutely nothing, but I'm going to try to explain a little bit. I think we can explain how the exhibit is relevant to the club's mission by noting the similarities between books and ephemera. The line dividing books from printed ephemera is not clear. There is a point at which the distinction between the two is blurred. Is a 20-page pamphlet a book or ephemera? What if the pamphlet is 200 pages? Information scientists have developed rules to categorize the two, and I don't intend to get into the weeds here about that. My point is just that as it's sometimes difficult to classify a printed piece as a book or ephemera, it may be tough to distinguish between how books and ephemera are studied and appreciated. In many instances, we collect books and ephemera for the same reasons. For example, we may look at a book or ephemera as an object and be jazzed about its type, its paper, and its overall graphic design. Or we may be interested in the content of the book or ephemera and its place in history. So this is a brief but perhaps unsatisfactory justification for presenting printed ephemera to a book club. I know you're probably wondering when I'm going to start talking about animals, but sooner or later it'll happen. I could use the remainder of my time to give a long academic talk on the use of animals in marketing, but for most of us, that would be the painful elaboration of the obvious. So nonetheless, I'll provide some comments on the subject to give this exhibit some context. Humans have been fascinated by animal imagery since the prehistoric era. Now, don't get scared that I'm going to talk about the prehistoric era. Cavemen painted images of animals on walls to symbolically capture their prey and to record their observations. With the advent of the printing press, animal imagery was used as a symbol for the press itself. For example, the great 15th century printer, Aldus Manutius, employed the image of a dolphin wrapped around an anchor as his printer's mark. With the onset of the Industrial Revolution, companies prolifically utilized animal imagery to promote products and services. Animals were often humorously anthropomorphized to create positive emotions, which would resonate with potential buyers. In addition, advertisers used animal images to link an animal's desired characteristics to their products. A tiger might associate a product with an animal's speed, strength, or beauty. There has been some, in quotation, scholarship on animal ephemera used to promote products and services. For example, there is a 96-page book entitled The Cat Made Me Buy It, which I'm pointing to here. And this was followed by another 96-page book entitled The Black Cat Made Me Buy It. And the distinction between these two titles in my mind raises the question of whether this exhibit has a broad or a narrow focus. At first glance, it is very easy to conclude that animal advertising ephemera is quite a limited subject. But when you consider that an exhibit could have been installed using only one species, such as a parrot, the present exhibit seems relatively broad. What can we learn from so many different representations of a parrot, for example? Well, you get an opportunity to see how it was variously conceptualized and drawn over about a 100-year period from the Victorian era to the recent present. You can see how perhaps an early graphic design influenced a later one, or how an advertised product consistently fits nicely with the particular animal. In collecting these animals, I have been particularly drawn to those with appealing design, and they are the ones that gain entry to the menagerie. I have been most attracted by die cuts, ephemera shaped like the animal or part of the animal. This printing process enhances the animal's appeal, since the animal is no longer on the ad, but now has a substance and depth that bolsters the believability of the advertiser's message. These dimensional animals are particularly well suited to become product endorsers or mascots. In some cases, the animal becomes the mascot name, such as Tiger brand matches. The word ephemera stems from the Greek and means about a day or lasts a day. Most of the items in this exhibit were not meant to last or to be saved. They survived due to some person who kept them before me. The pioneer ephemerist Maurice Ricards was attracted to ephemera in part by what he called the read over shoulder effect. I'm going to repeat that, the read over the shoulder effect. This means that as we glance at a piece of ephemera, we are aware of its duration, but also of the countless scanning of it by others. He called this eye-worn. I think it's a great turn of phrase. So I've already spoken just briefly about looking at ephemera as an object to study, and to study its, say, printing and design, and how we can also study its content. In the case of ephemera, this may be primary evidence of history. We think of ephemera as primary evidence of history. You can think in this exhibit of a 19th century imitation in the shape of a bear, and what it would tell you if you looked at it. Another thing you can gain from this type of study is cultural shift. For example, there is a die-cut trade card, I don't have it here, in the shape of a pig with what has the head of a child on the body of a pig, and it's promoting a food product. And the idea is this product will make your child as fat as a pig. And this was considered a good thing in the 19th century, when food might have been scarce or children were suffering from malnutrition, and when plumpness was associated with good health. how times have changed. We can look at this exhibit in a third way, and the first two are, as I said, the ephemera as an object. The second one was the ephemera as and the content, but we can look at this exhibit in a third way as a sort of unpasted collage. In installing this exhibit, I've been guided by two cardinal rules or principles, which are particularly well suited to my age. And unfortunately, Kevin has already alluded to them. So I'm repeating here, but more is better and vertical is better. The items are for the most part displayed upright, not flat, and are masked. These techniques simultaneously depress and enhance the viewing experience. They depress because you can't clearly see each piece, but it enhances because it connects two pieces. One die-cut frog can be looking at by another, and this imparts a shimmer of reality. The advertising ephemera exhibited comes in a wide variety of forms, including trade cards, menus, labels, box tops, packaging, bookmarks, greeting cards, booklets, brochures, table tents, sign, metamorphic cards, original art, pen wipes, celluloid novelties, and poster stamps. Yet these categories represent only a tiny portion of the over 1,000 categories in the Encyclopedia of Ephemera. So let's end this talk with the ultimate truth. This is the first exhibit at the new home of the Book Club of California. It is meant to be fun, lighthearted, and to add a touch of whimsy to celebrate a new chapter in the club's long and distinguished history. Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to take some questions if folks have questions here in the audience. John.
As a farmer, what was your pursuit?
Can you speak up so people on Zoom can hear?
What was your pursuit subjects like? What was the rhythm of your pursuit?
Oh, well, yeah, I've been asked what was the rhythm of the pursuit of the items, or I guess how did I collect them in a way. But rhythm implies there's some kind of regular beat to it.
No,
which
your regular rate.
Yeah, I'm not a very rhythmic person. I think they were collected over a period of 40 years, but in answer to your more direct question, I think as a younger person, I collected less, and as an older person, I collected more.
Why not?
I think it's usually the other way around, because you're facing the question as you get older, what are you going to do with these things? And I don't like to answer that question. So that's a question for my heirs. And it's an heir for my heirs. Any other questions?
Another question here in the room?
Bo?
Well, a comment, you were trying to relate ephemera and books, and the things that they have in common are paper and ink.
That's true. That's very true. And we should note that Bo's father, William P. Reedon, was one of the pioneers of the ephemera world, and both in obtaining it and selling it. He had a fabulous eye for ephemera.
We do have a question on Zoom. Barbara asks, how do you store and preserve your beautiful collection?
Most of this ephemera is stored in 3-ring binders in kind of what they call vario pages. Vario pages are black pages that already have different size slots and they're acid free, so you can just sort of slip the items in, which reminds me I have a horrible task ahead of me.
Yes, you do, but it's many months away.
It's many months away.
There's also this question, which are your personal favorites?
Well, that's a good question. I don't want to offend any particular animal group.
Be careful.
The trade cards that are displayed here are kind of very special trade cards. as far as what animals I like, I think I focused a lot on parrots. And I have some other kind of parrot advertising that's not sort of paper. So I don't know why I was attracted to parrots, and I have a parrot cage that now sits in my basement. And I never had a parrot, but I think there's something about the beauty of the animal, and it's the beautiful macaws and the colors, and you can see that is widely used to associate different products. And of course, the cracker is the one that we always think of, probably want a cracker, and it actually is true. And a few companies did use the parrot advertising. Dozier Wheel was one, and it became the American Biscuit Company, which became Nabisco, which is still around.
And if you haven't already seen it, the exhibition tower in the back room is all parrots. One last question, and we'll take one here.
I have two questions. One, do you have the baking soda birds? And two, are these primarily all chromolithography?
The answer to the second question is yes. I don't know that you should get more than one question. No, the answer to the first question is, I'm not sure about the baking soda bird, but I have to think about it. I know what I do have in my studio is a couple of bird seed boxes that have bird advertising.
These were like free cards that came with every bird and a little information. They're about that big. And I think I've seen
With an Arm and Hammer?
yeah, I think so. I'm not sure, but they were like free with the baking soda.
Yeah,
That's
I've searched for them online.
it's probably Army. I don't think I have any here of that, although I've seen those. There are some small looking insert type bird things up there, though. Yeah. Yes.
Have you ever been tempted by larger pieces rather than just ephemera, but general advertising from the same period? And what I'm referencing, are you familiar with the J. Last collection?
Yes, I know Jay.
Yeah, okay. Things on that, in that vein.
Yes, I'm tempted. There are some, see on the top show, you can see there's some things at the top that are a little bit bigger, and I do have some other big things. Probably the best piece that I have suitable for this exhibit I couldn't find, which was a large die cut for a gum company in the shape of a California bear. There was a California bear company, but yeah, Jay has, of course, posters, and that may be what you're referring to as large. And I don't generally collect posters because they end up just being rolled up. If you can't get them linen backed and you don't have a lot of wall space. But Jay has a fabulous collection. If you ever get a chance to go to the Huntington Library and talk to Dave Mahaley, the curator down there, and see what's available, I mean, it's just a magnificent collection. And we used to go to Greenwich together. We didn't go together, but we were there together, and we would sit on the bed with other people, John Grossman and maybe Jeff Carr, and we'd have show and tell of all the ephemera that we were able to get at the Ephemera Society back there. But yeah, Jay's collection is almost without peer, really.
A beautiful book that the Huntington published called The Color Explosion.
Yes.
And that was for the first opening that they had of that collection.
Right. The Color Explosion was actually the first sort of comprehensive book on color lithography in the United States. And Jay went all over the country seeking information, going to different libraries to, this is Donaldson lithograph, and when were they founded, and how did the name change? So he was very much a scholar in putting that book together. But I'm not getting paid by Jay, so.
We're going to close with one last question here, unless there's another one here in the room. Going once, going twice. Zoom question, I think, is a nice way to end.
Okay.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the Ephemera Society.
Oh, okay.
People are asking.
Yeah. I'm stepping on Kevin's shoes here because he'd rather get your membership than.
No, it's all one big happy family.
Okay.
Tell us about the Ephemera
Okay.
Society.
Well, the Ephemera Society is is a nonprofit organization devoted to the promotion of and study of ephemera. And it consists of collectors, dealers, and institutions. And there's that are members. There's about 750 members. There's some great august institutions like the Smithsonian that belong, the Library of Congress. And they put out a journal, a colored journal 3 times a year. They have a conference, which is coming up in March. This conference in March will be on innovations and inventions. And they have lectures with, lots of ephemera. And then there's an ephemera show, the best in the country really, that's associated with that conference. And they also have an e-news, which comes out every month. And the dues are really reasonable. So it's a gathering of people of like-minded ephemera enthusiasts. And of course, there are a lot of book dealers and book collectors too, because there's such a great overlap between the two. We all love the printed word. And as Bo said, there's print and ink in both of them. So we'd be happy to recruit any members or talk to any members. They can email me, or Kevin. They can email Kevin, who can get in touch with me. So sure.
Great. And with that, we're going to wrap up here and give the folks here in the room a chance to look at the exhibition. And I'm going to step over here and just wrap up with the Zoom folks. Hey there, folks on Zoom. Thanks again for attending this presentation, and thanks here in the room for attending this exhibition opening. And maybe we could all give it up a big round of applause for our speaker, Bruce Shire. You can join us for our next program, Monday, October 21st at 6 o'clock. The title is The Sugar King of California. It's a virtual presentation by author and historian Sandra E. Bonura. You can register for that event online at bccbooks.org/programs. You can send me an email and I'll register you. I'm kevin@bccbooks.org. Or you can click the link in the emails that you're probably getting from the book club now about all of our presentations. We hope you'll join us for another event here in person or online. Thanks again, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the exhibition. Thanks, everyone.